Good morning, my Real News Midday TV family. Thank you so much for tuning in this morning for another news update for Friday, November 6, 2025. And I'm wishing for everyone a wonderful and a productive day. And in the news this morning, police seek to allay fears after group carrying aid robbed. The Jamaica Constabulary Force is trying to alleviate fears after a group was robbed while transporting aid to affected communities after Hurricane Melissa. The incident has been circulating on social media platforms. Messages seen by the news claim a group was held up at gunpoint and robbed of $300,000 of relief supplies in Holland Bamboo in St. Elizabeth last week. Police Commissioner Dr. Kevin Blake has confirmed the incident but said no other cases have been reported to the police. He said although some amount of panic over the incident had given the impression that there was a wanton increase in robberies, the police have seen no such evidence. Last Friday, police had to fire warning shots in Black River as the frustrated residents looted the commercial enterprises.
Even myself, it has looped back to me several times, the very same incident, and some amount of panic have given an impression of wanton increased case of robberies and stuff like that. But we have no such information. I personally have been on the road and I've been in the space several times traversing from Kingston, and there is no evidence of that. I believe that these are not persons who would normally have looted, but in a crisis situation, people need water, people need food. They will seek to get that to survive. And so, thankfully, we responded, not just the JTF, but the government has responded. And, relief items have been reaching people. So we just want to use the opportunity to ask members of the public to just exercise a little patience and just, give us some time. Relief will get to you. We have not relented.
27 communities still marooned following Hurricane Melissa. More than a week after Hurricane Melissa destroyed thousands of homes and businesses in western Jamaica, the authorities are reporting that hundreds of residents and nearly 30 communities remain marooned. This was revealed on Thursday by a newly appointed Director General of the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, Commander Alvin Gale. Speaking at a press conference at the Jamaica House, Commander Gale admitted that the authorities are still trying to gain access to a number of communities to provide assistance to the desperate residents.
First and most importantly, we mourn those we've lost. The official number of confirmed fatalities pertinent to Hurricane Melissa now stands at 32. Our hearts are with the families and communities grieving those lost, and we are providing necessary support to them during this difficult time. Our initial damage assessment indicates that over some 120,000 buildings in western Jamaica have lost their roofs. This directly impacts some 90,000 families. And we are acutely aware that many communities are still marooned, cut off by flooding and landslides. I can report that through the efforts of the Jamaica Defence Force, the National Works Agency, the Jamaica Fire Brigade, and others, we successfully re-established access to many of these communities. However, as of this morning, there is some indication that some 27 communities remain marooned, primarily in the difficult-to-reach areas of St. Elizabeth, St. James, and Trelawney. A number of shelters have been closed as persons are returning to their communities, whilst the data from some shelters is limited due to communication challenges. However, as of 10 p.m. last evening, a total of 184 shelters remain open. Some 2,487 persons have been displaced into these shelters, primarily from the St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, and Hanover areas.
Man's body found with head wounds along Salt Pond Road. Police in Portmore, St. Catherine are trying to ascertain the identity of a man whose body was discovered along the Salt Pond roadway in the parish on Wednesday. Reports are that about 11:30 a.m., passers-by saw the body and summoned the police. When the scene was visited by the police, it was observed that the body was in an advanced state of decomposition. Initial checks by the police revealed what appeared to be head wounds. The scene was processed and the body removed for post-mortem examination. Teens robbed and sexually assaulted during Helsha Beach birthday celebration. The police in the St. Catherine South Division are searching for a man who allegedly robbed and assaulted 6 people at Helsha Beach in Portmore on Tuesday morning. He is being sought for assault occasioning bodily harm, forcible abduction, shooting with intent, and a grievous sexual assault. Reports are that about 3 a.m. on November 4, a group of teenagers went to the beach to celebrate a birthday when they were attacked by a man armed with a handgun. The man reportedly hit one of the victims in the head with a gun, causing a wound. He then forced the group to another section of the beach where he robbed them of their cell phones. The attacker is also said to have sexually assaulted 2 of the females before firing his weapon and ordering the group to leave. A report was later made to the Portmore Criminal Investigation Branch, and the police have since launched a manhunt for the suspect. Rising water in content could take up to 2 months to recede, says the WRA. The Water Resources Authority says it could take up to 2 months for the groundwater in content to Manchester to recede, and the process has started. The water, which began rising last Friday following heavy rainfall from Hurricane Melissa, has forced several families to evacuate the community located between Kirkvine and Williamsfield. The last flooding event occurred in 2002. Speaking with the news on Thursday, Peter Clark, managing director of the WRA, said the authority has been monitoring the water level. He says it started to fall on Wednesday.
So in terms of what is going to happen, the matter of dealing with the water as a flood is a wait and see for everybody, really. We can only tell you now how fast it's rising. As a matter of fact, up to last night, we have now determined that basically it has stopped rising and there's some amount of recession. So it is now going down. But if it rains, then there is quite likely the impact. It may be there for 4 to 6 weeks. It may be there for 8 to 10 weeks. Yeah, there are sections of that that are deeper than 8 feet. So once you're not the normal average person would be covered, and if you're not a swimmer, then it becomes a problem. So they have to take care of themselves. Also, others have to be on alert, because as the groundwater advances and moves forward, for instance, it may, as it did in 2002, start popping out in, for instance, pores and so on. So they have to also be on the alert.
Taxi operators slap residents of Melissa-ravaged communities in St. Elizabeth with increased rates. Taxi operators between Santa Cruz and the several hurricane-ravaged communities in northern St. Elizabeth have hiked their fares by more than 400%, angry residents have complained. Instead of the $350 fare that existed before the passage of Hurricane Melissa, some taxi operators are now demanding $1,500 for a trip between Santa Cruz and the Elderslie district, according to one resident, Chevelle Wright. "If you don't have $1,500, you can't go Santa Cruz right now," she told the news on Tuesday. Citing another example, Wright complained that she purchased a pound of nails in the neighboring parish of Manchester for $350 per pound on Monday, but saw similar nails being sold in her community for $550 per pound. "In the state that we are in now, that's bad," she said, lamenting what she described as wide-scale structural damage to nearly all buildings in Elderslie and the adjoining communities of Mulgrave and Ipswich. "Them hike the price and it's not right." One taxi operator admitted that the day after Melissa made landfall in Jamaica, he charged $1,000 for a trip to Santa Cruz and reduced it to $700 by last Sunday. The news has taken the decision not to publish his name. The taxi operator said he was not aware that residents were being charged $1,500, but defended the increase he imposed. "It will go up. Me run up here and a Mandeville me go buy gas. You can't drive go Mandeville and buy gas and give it to people for the same price," he said. Elderslie, Thornton, Aberdeen, Silo and Magotty are just some of the communities in which he operates another factor he takes into account in setting his fare. Sometimes me only have one for Elderslie, one for Taunton, and one for Aberdeen. So you have to do it in a way where you can make back your money, he reasoned. Me have to drive all 2.5 hours before me stop. And after 2.5 hours sometimes, you only make like $3,000. Days before the Category 5 hurricane battered Jamaica, the government issued the trade sale of goods during period of declaration of threatened the area Tropical Storm Melissa Order 2025 to clamp down on price gouging. Price gouging occurs when an economic operator takes advantage of an emergency, such as hurricanes or other national disasters, to raise prices excessively on items people urgently need to recover, according to the Consumer Affairs Commission. The order prohibits retailers from increasing the price of essential goods, including food, water, medical supplies, building materials, and emergency equipment for the duration of the period that an area is declared a disaster area. Violations of the order carry fines of up to $1 million. The CAC confirmed yesterday that it has received one complaint of price gouging since the passage of Hurricane Melissa. The complaint was filed on Wednesday against an economic operator in the import distribution retail sector. The CAC disclosed in email responses to questions submitted by the news. The economic operator was not publicly identified. The CAC is reviewing the information received and requesting evidence that is required ahead of a potential investigation, said the agency, which falls under the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce. Guys, thanks for watching. Please join us this afternoon at 2 p.m. for another news update.